The first time Elias heard it, the hum arrived like a breath held too long. It came through his headphones in the half-collapsed living room of 12 Marrow Lane, a building condemned 3 winters ago and left untouched since. Rain threaded through the fractured roof, each droplet ticking over the warped boards. Somewhere beneath that soft percussion, the house trembled with a tone too low to place, vibrating his jaw more than his ears. He glanced at the analog mixer, at the tangle of cables snaking into the dark. 4 boundary mics, 1 in each corner. A contact mic pressed to a load-bearing beam. A shotgun aimed down the spine of the hallway. The client had asked for a simple overnight survey of structural resonance, speaking in brisk architectural jargon that barely hid their unease. "We need to know why the neighbors keep complaining. It only happens at night, around 3. Elias checked the time. 2:59 a.m. The hum thickened, as if the wood itself were inhaling. At 3:17 a.m., all readings sharpened. The waveform on his laptop, previously a drifting cloud of noise, constricted into a clean, rising band. The hum climbed half a semitone, then another, threatening to become a note, a sound with intention. In the hallway, the air seemed to flatten. Elias muted his headphones, and the silence that replaced the hum felt heavier, as if he'd stepped beneath deep water. He walked toward the stairs. Each step sank with a muted protest, dust spraying from the seams. The contact mic cable led ahead of him, disappearing under a swollen door at the end of the corridor, the only room he hadn't opened yet. The landlord had shrugged. "Basement access? Don't have that key anymore." His laugh had been brittle, but the door was now slightly ajar, warped frame bowing inward. Cold air exhaled from the crack, carrying the smell of plaster, rust, and something sweetly metallic. The hum slid back into range, louder now without the headphones, not so much heard as felt, a pressure rearranging organs according to some buried, unsanctioned blueprint. He pressed his palm against the door. Vibration throbbed through the swollen wood, not uniform but patterned. Clusters, intervals, a kind of muscular Morse. Somewhere Elias's training whispered about load distribution, about flex frequencies, about wind harmonics along weakened joists. But another part of him, older and less verbal, recognized the cadence of breath. His recorder clipped, the input meters surging into red. He lowered the gain, dragged the file into a spectral editor, and watched the screen stutter. The hum wasn't a single band anymore. It had grown teeth, vertical streaks like consonants, tiny detonations of sound punctuating a continuous drone. When he isolated one slice and boosted it, a soft, almost apologetic syllable emerged, nested in the noise. His own name. The waveform of Elias crumpled as he looped it, every repetition less mechanical, more pleading. He checked the metadata, time code aligned at exactly 3 hours 17 minutes and 0 seconds. Every mic registered it simultaneously, even the one locked in the padded case. The building had spoken across equipment that wasn't physically listening. From the hallway, floorboards answered with a creak that sounded suspiciously like a reply. The second night, he brought more gear and less skepticism. He ringed the living room with cheap Bluetooth speakers, slaved them to his laptop, and prepared a loop. The house's hum, cleaned and inverted, played back into its own bones. Feedback for a structure, a conversation built from reflections. Outside, the neighborhood lay embered and indifferent. A single streetlight flickered, defining the house by the way it failed to catch the glow. At 3:10 a.m., the temperature dropped so sharply his breath turned to slow, deliberate fog. He began the loop. The speakers exhaled the edited hum, thinner, hollower but recognizable. For a few seconds nothing changed. Then every wall answered at once. Plaster crackled inward, nails ticking like teeth. The spectral display blurred, its neat colors smearing vertically as if gravity had rotated 90 degrees. Subharmonics blossomed, unaccounted for by his output. Between them, nested in the troughs, a second voice threaded through, speaking not his name but a sequence of addresses. Dates, eviction notices, nightly complaints about that humming filed years apart. Behind him the corridor elongated, its far end slipping an inch further away every time he blinked, as though the house were tuning its own dimensions to better hear.